What's cracking with you people? Anansi here and welcome back to Dead or Alive Ultimate. In the last one, we did Gunfu's character bio. And in this one we're going to be working on Tina's today. Now Tina is a pretty interesting character in terms of her placement in Dead or Alive. Once again I'm going to be reading her blurb from the Dead or Alive Ultimate Manual, and it just starts off as so. Tina entered pro wrestling in high school and has worked her way up to become one of the world's most lethal and feared competitors. Bass Armstrong is Tina's father, trainer, and chief support, whether Tina likes it or not. Tina almost threw in the glove last year until her father stepped in again and convinced her to take on the world. Bass thinks Tina is in the well, bit of a typo here, it says in the it, but it should be Bass thinks Tina is in it for the glory of winning the DOA tournament, but her real aim is to be discovered by Hollywood. Now, once again, this is one of those retcons, because the thing you have to remember that the blurbs I'm reading from are ostensibly retcons that have came about after Dead or Alive 2. The reason why I say that is that Bass Armstrong as Tina's father, I believe, was not introduced until Dead or Alive 2. When Dead or Alive first came out, there was no grandiose plan, probably beyond Kasumi wanting to enter to beat Raidao. Everything else afterwards was pretty much conceptualized in 2. The reason why I say that is that in Dead or Alive 1, in the original Dead or Alive, as you can see, Tina is portrayed as having brunette hair. In every game afterwards, she's blonde. And not just like she dyed her hair blonde, I mean she is naturally blonde. Which leads me into my next point, and that is that I think Tina was retconned and reconceptualized to be the fun American girl. Specifically the fun Southern American girl, because she's very much Texan going forward. She's not, because you think she would have been New York, like New York or maybe a Cali girl, just because she's brunette. At least that's what I got from it. And as far as I'm concerned, every time I see a brunette in any kind of like fictional media that takes place somewhere in the real world, they're usually from New York or from California, maybe Chicago. Anyone from the South is usually redhead or blonde, so they made her blonde. And yes, she was a pro wrestler, but the thing about her being the most lethal one in the world, that's taken it a bit far. And that just leads me into, final bit with this, is that I believe Tina to be probably the most retconned character in Dead or Alive. Because, once again, beyond Kasumi wanting to enter the tournament to outright murder Raidao, every other fighter inside the original Dead or Alive is pretty much in it for personal reasons. They're either seeking fame or glory or just trying to do something different. Tina was the head of I believe it was the DWA. I think was the name of the wrestling league the name of the women's wrestling league in the Dead or Alive universe. You can even, as you've gone through the videos, especially when we get through John Lee's stage and Tina's stage, if the camera pans right, you can see a billboard with Tina's face on it advertising the league she's in. She even wears it on her blue alternate outfit. And she was the top of her game. Now, in later games, they retcon it to where she entered the tournament, or at the very least fleshed it out to where she entered the Dead or Alive tournament. Yes, seeking fame in Hollywood, but specifically, she got tired of wrestling, and that's pretty much become her shtick the entirety of the series. She's always looking to do something completely different in every single game. In Dead or Alive 2, she wanted to be I believe, a movie star in Dead or Alive 2. Wait. Okay, so I will openly admit that this one I do get confused on pretty frequently. So like I said, I believe in Dead or Alive 2 she wanted to be a movie star, and in Dead or Alive 3 she wanted to be a pop star. I know at the end of Dead or Alive 4 music is definitely involved in it, but I honestly can't remember the exact specifics at the moment. And once again, as we go through the Dead or Alive series, it will become more and more clear as we go through. But yeah, no. Tina's running gag in the entire series is that she's kind of stuck in a rut in her life. Now remember, Tina's only like 22. Canonically, she's in her early 20s. Like, she's essentially, if she had gone to college, she'd be fresh out of college right now, or in her final year of college. That's how young she is. But she acts like she's having a midlife crisis, or at the very least, she's just feels in a dead end career. The one, and I believe part of that is due to the fact that and this is not stated in the Dead or Alive Ultimate Manual, but Baz Armstrong, her father, is considered the best wrestler of all time. Like, he is the top wrestler. I'm fairly certain that he's based off of Hulk Hogan. I can't think of any other wrestler that he might be based off of, just from his demeanor and style. And I'll admit, most of that, if not all of it, has to do with the fact that I have just never been interested in pro wrestling. I just haven't. If you are a young child and you believe wrestling is real, I recommend that you cover your ears for the next 5 seconds. Okay, this is your one warning. Ears covered. Okay. Pro wrestling, everybody pretty much knows that it's staged. It's fake. You know, it's basically one big stage play. But with and I believe there are storylines in the Wrestling Federation or wrestling or whatever it's called. I believe there is storylines that they have good guys, bad guys. I think it's called a face and a heel. I think is the terminology. The heel being the bad guy and the face being the good guy. It was why they call it a heel turn. It's been a common turn of phrase in fictional media when the good guy goes bad. It is staged. It is just one big thing of theater, and it shows in Tina's moveset. If you notice a couple of times, Tina has a move where she'll just do a butt launch at the enemy, pull a Princess Peach from Smash Bros, if you will, or I guess Sindel in the recent Mortal Kombat. I've seen some gameplay clips, Sindel and MK11 just doing a complete butt bash at the enemy, and turns to an X-ray move where she cracks someone's skull open with those cheeks. Yeah, she got buttons of steel. But yeah, no, and to be fair, with Tina and Baz, they don't just use wrestling as like a gimmick or as just like a thing they put on. No, in their latter endings and in the more focused linear narratives of Dead or Alive 5 and 6, Tina and Baz being pro wrestlers, it plays into their personality. They are over the top. They are exaggerating. They are pretty much putting on a show. So I appreciate them at least carrying the theme through and just making it be more consistent throughout the entire series, rather than just have it be something that's like, okay, in gameplay they'll be like in wrestling attire. Now, even though another thing that I want to bring up is that even though in later games they introduced the character of Ayani, I believe they mentioned that they use Ayani as like a test dummy character, like for aesthetic purposes or like a dress-up doll or something like that. But Tina has been used for the most part as like a I guess it's a marketing tool. because she's on the cover, like dead center cover of, I want to say, every single Dead or Alive game, barring as you know, even including Ultimate and Ultimate 2, because you see her, because Ultimate and Ultimate 2 have like this abstract cover art where it's just like the character's eyes, and I believe she's one of the pairs of eyes on the cover. They used her, they put her front and center on the Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball case next to Lisa and Hitomi when those two got introduced inside those games. Same thing for Dead or Alive Extreme 2, she's on the front cover. Dead or Alive 4, she's sat smack dab in the middle of the cast. Like Dead or Alive 4 had this weird cover art where it's the entire cast and they're surrounding this white sofa, and Tina is sat dead center in the middle of the sofa, wearing this pretty eye-catching wrestling uniform. I believe Dead or Alive 3, same thing. She's just in the middle of the cover. Dead or Alive 5, the cover art and even the poster that came with the collector's edition, she's near the middle. She's notable on the covers, and she plays the most minimal part of the story entirety. I think her only claim to fame, or at least the only reason why she would even be considered important, is because she's randomly made so in the Dead or Alive movie. Yeah. I believe I brought this up in with Zach's video. That Dead or Alive was one of the few video games to receive a movie adaptation. And admittedly, this might be my bias speaking, but I do think it's one of the better video game movies out there. I wouldn't go out of my way to buy it. I do have it because I got it for like $2, and I was just curious to see what it was. On Blu-ray, mind you, so that's usually a sign right there. A Blu-ray disc is like $2 to $5. You know it's probably not that decent. But I picked it up, watched it, and maybe due to the fact that I have just seen a lot of Uwe Boll movies, it seemed like a freaking masterpiece to me. Looking back on it now, if you can just find like clips of it online or clips on the fight scenes, the fight choreography in the movie is amazing. Because it plays like a regular martial arts movie, which you know, martial arts tournament makes sense, right? But anyway, as I was saying, Tina is made weirdly important in that movie, and I don't know why. She's still country. I believe her dad is inside the movie. It tells the events of a completely different tournament. Like what happens in this game and in the sequel game and in 3 and 4, none of it happens in the games. It's an even wilder plot than what actually happens in the Dead or Alive games, and they make her weirdly important. Basically, the main antagonist of the series, I believe he's introduced into, his name is Victor Donovan. His main master stroke is to sell bioweapons of mass destruction to the highest bidder. These bioweapons happen to be clones of Kasumi. I'll get more into that later. In the movie, he's not selling bioweapons, he's selling these sunglasses. Bear with me now. My bad, not sunglasses, these safety goggles that allow an individual to download the fighting skills of any other martial artist on the planet. That's literally it. They program the martial arts skills of the best fighters in the tournament by shoving them into a pod. I remember this specifically. They shoved them into it, so I believe it was because they had captured Hayate. That one stays consistent throughout the entire series. That he just captured for some reason. I know what it is. It is inside the games, but inside the movie, they just have him captured and locked up, and they randomly shaved his head for some reason. It's him. I believe Ryu Hayabusa actually shows up in the movie. Kasumi, Ayane, and Tina. Ayane, Kasumi, and Tina get captured, shoved into the pods, and it like scans them, puts their martial arts memories into the glasses, and then Donovan puts the glasses on, and Donovan is just this like generic looking white dude in like this stereotypical green robe. I forget what the actor's name is. I want to look it up at some point, because it's been so long since I've seen the movie. But he puts him on, and suddenly he's not only like, remember, he's like this pasty lab dude. Like, Donovan in the series has been characterized as this pasty, nerdy lab guy. He puts on these glasses, and suddenly he can hold his own against a pro wrestler and 3 to 4 ninjas. And the only reason why they beat him is because of Kasumi's canonical in the games and the movies interest of acupuncture. She acupunctures his neck at a pressure point that renders his entire body immobilized, and he detonates. Now, well, he doesn't detonate, the facility blows up around him, but still. Tina's made weirdly important at the movie for no apparent reason. Like, nothing happens in the movie besides her setting up that Kasumi likes acupuncture. That's it. Because Kasumi does acupuncture on her to help her relax for her next match. I honestly don't know why. And it's a good portrayal, but her video game counterpart is much better because they use her as a fun character, you know. And this is different from comic relief. Zack is comic relief, okay? Tina's a fun character. For better comparison, if you played Halo, the grunts are comic relief. Sergeant Johnson's a fun character. Fun characters usually have funny lines or funny moments. Comic relief is intended to be funny the entire time. Like I mentioned in Zack's video, he is canonically the reason why we have Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. I'm not kidding. Tina's just there for fun, you know. She has her serious moments every once in a while, but for the most part, she just has fun moments. She doesn't overstay her welcome. She's just kind of there. Look at that, as he beat my record for the last time I played this character. But yeah, Tina in Dead or Alive, they retconned her character, and I went through a good bit of it in this video. As when we get to 2, 3, and 4 and all that stuff, I'll get more and more in depth. I want to bring it up here because once again, in terms of the main games or this main story, she doesn't really have much. You know, like I pretty much mentioned it all at the top. She got bored being a pro wrestler. She wanted something different. She joined Dead or Alive to hopefully get discovered, and they expanded upon that / retconned it to be where she, you know, joined to hopefully get into Hollywood. And as I mentioned earlier, and this is mostly just me completely blanking on it, in 2 or 3, it was either she wanted to be a actress or a singer. I know for a fact in 4 she successfully becomes a singer. But I forget what the what 2 and 3's endings were. Because I know one of them's a movie. One of them she wants to be a movie star. She's like, she's pretty much the female equivalent to Schwarzenegger as for all intents and purposes. But you know, we'll see more of that as we go through the Dead or Alive series. Anyway, I've been Anansi, you've been awesome, and I'll catch you later. Deuces.